All right.
First of all, I'd like to introduce the person that we have with us today at O'Darby's. We got Jimmy Russell here with a Wild Turkey, and he's been master distiller there since Moby Dick was a guppy. He didn't tell me how many years, but obviously been a lot of years. But Jimmy, first of all, I want to thank you so much for coming down and joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And I got a few questions I want to ask you. Some of them I probably already asked you earlier, but one question I always like to ask master distillers is, what is your daily drink of choice as far as Wild Turkey?
Wild Turkey.
Well, which one of the Wild Turkey?
You're going to be like my wife now. One time I was doing a seminar and somebody asked me, I said, what bourbon you drink? I said, well, I'm glad to know that. My wife spoke up real quick and said, they're all Wild Turkeys. I drink more of the Russell's Reserve or Rare Breed than I do. I'd like the 101 and the 81, but I drink more Russell's or Rare Breed than I do any of them.
Well, that's good. We get this question a lot when people comes in and they talk about taxes, you know, how much we pay in taxes. In the state of South Carolina and in this county, we pay 7% sales tax. And I think a lot of people think that that is also the alcohol tax too, but that's already paid before we get here. Would you like to give us some kind of idea of what kind of taxes that the Wild Turkey pays?
Well, at the Wild Turkey, at our tax just to Uncle Sam for what we bottle, runs about $1,500,000 every 15 days.
Now I'm not going to try to do the math on that figure.
$36 to $38 million a year to federal tax. That's just the federal tax right here. Every bottle of spirits you buy, Uncle Sam is getting $13.50 a gallon out of it. The state of Kentucky, we pay a tax on the barrel as it sits there and ages each year to the state. So you're paying that tax too.
Yeah.
And then in the state of Kentucky, we have a 17% sales tax. So anywhere you go in the United States, 60 to 65% of the cost of spirits is taxes.
Well, that's a good. I think that's very informative. I think a lot of people like to have that number. Now, you and I talked earlier about the trend in this industry and everything's coming out flavored. And we talked about Sazerac having, you know, they getting ready to come out with 22 different flavored whiskeys, and I don't know where we're going to put them on the shelf. But anyway, you know, you mentioned American Honey's been out since 1980.
Right.
Do you foresee Wild Turkey coming out with any more flavors in the near future?
Yes, we are working on one right now. We're looking at a spiced bourbon. We're not big innovators and doing different things. I started in 1954. We're still making Wild Turkey the same today as we was the day I started. We have our own yeast. We make our own yeast every day and everything. Only good thing about it, we was making about 70 barrels a day when I started. We're making 560 barrels a day now. And it's good for me. If we still make that 50 or 60 barrels, I probably wouldn't have had a job.
Well, and I think a lot of people believe this, and I should already know the answer, but does all bourbon have to be made in Kentucky?
No, sir. That's most. Bourbon is a distinctive product of America. It can only be made in the United States of America. But if it doesn't say Kentucky, people say it's not bourbon. But no, it can be made, as long as you stay within the government regulations, it's the most restricted product in the world.
Well, that's good. I got one final question. Who's your favorite basketball team?
What time of year? No, I'm a UK fan, the University Wildcats. But I'm also a Louisville fan.
Okay, I thought you'd say Louisville just like that.
No, I'm a Wildcat fan to start out with, but I'm also a Louisville fan. But that's just the opposite most of Kentucky. They're either Kentucky fans or Louisville fans. It's not any playing backs and forwards, but I'm both.
Well, that's good. I'll share a little story with you. Last week when Louisville played Wichita Falls, you would find very, very few people in this town pulling for Louisville. Right. And the reason for that is because the coach at Wichita coached at our university, went for about 7-9 years. So, but anyway, Jimmy, thanks so much for coming. My pleasure. And looking forward to going to Kentucky to see you.
Be glad to have you in Kentucky. Thank you.
Appreciate you doing it.